Welcome to Timeless Echoes. If you've been here before, welcome back. I don't usually talk on these videos, but I thought I would give it a try this time. Okay, so since I'm waiting for my other book to dry, I thought I would make another art book just because that seems to be a common theme lately, is constantly waiting for something to dry. So this will give me something to work on while I'm waiting. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to show the process that I used for my first altar book, art book that I've been working on. So from what I've heard from other people, you take a page. I'm going to start here around the title page. So I'll keep page with this page, tear out the second page, and then I'll glue together the third page. If that makes sense. This paper's a little thin. Might end up needing to paint or glue more than one page together, or more than two pages together. There might be a faster way to do this, but this is what I am doing. I guess I'll figure it out if there's a better way along the way. So by removing the pages, it allows room for you to add more, since I'm planning to do more collaging. And I just want to get the edges here a little bit. I didn't quite get all the way to the edge. Just repeat the process. Pages that I'm tearing out, I'll end up using these for junk journals, pockets, whatever it is that I'll figure out what to do with these extra book pages. Today is the Super Bowl 60, and I don't really care about the Super Bowl, but Puppy Bowl's on, so that makes me pretty happy. Not really watching right now, not really in the mood, but it's on in the background. Take a peek every once in a while. And I have messed up before, like sometimes when I'm just not really paying attention, I'm just flowing. Sometimes I'll accidentally glue two sets of pages together, and I might actually do a lot more of that on this book because this paper is pretty thin. And there's 383 pages, so that's a crazy amount. I think that's a lot bigger than the other book that I did. And this is just an old book. I either donated money to the library for it, or my mother-in-law had a bunch of books she just gave me. So it either came from the library or my mother-in-law. And I think this is probably from my mother-in-law. I don't see anything in the back. Millions of books end up in the landfill every year. This is at least giving this book a second chance to be appreciated. That's kind of how I decided to look at it. I was a little on the fence about it before I started. There were some people like tearing these books apart. I was like, oh my gosh, that just doesn't seem right. covering it anyways. I should have cleaned this brush last time I glued. I might soak it in some water and see if that loosens it up a little bit. And something I noticed the last time, you have to be careful when because you're tearing that page in the middle. You kind of have to get like a lot of extra bulk right here, so you just have to flatten it out every once in a while, otherwise this thing just keeps encroaching. Somebody else was talking about this, said it's better to use a book that is sewn instead of glued, but so far I'm not having any problems with my other book. It seems to be working fine, and that one's a paperback, so it's definitely glued and not sewn, and so far so good. I can try to repair the spine if there's any issues with it. So once I get done gluing all these pages, then I'll have to lay this down under a stack of books. Because I don't have a fancy book press. Not yet, anyways. Haven't gotten far enough along this rabbit hole of this hobby. But this is very relaxing and therapeutic for me. My mind is so busy, like it just quiets down my brain. And I'm probably putting a little bit too heavy on this page. These pages are going to be a little bit, but that's okay. I kind of like them when they're kind of wrinkly. It adds a little more texture to your collage or your painting or whatever you're adding to these pages. Right now I'm fascinated with the combination of collage and acrylics, but by the time I finish these books, who knows what I'm going to be doing. So this is a journey of creativity for me. I used to love painting. Not so much painting, I never really got into it. I mean, that was like one of those things that I thought was cool and interesting, but like when I grew up, kids' hobbies didn't really matter for anything. Gen X here. We grew up with very, I have a double page here. No, I'm going to have a double page on this one. I forgot to skip and tear, I think. Or I tore, but I forgot to, whatever. Tore and forgot to count my pages. So this will be a double thick section. Because these two pages are already glued together, so there'll be 3 pages glued together. The last book that I did, I had some that they had up to 4 pages glued together because I glued in between 2 sets of pages. That's okay. It's a happy little accident. Speaking of happy little accidents, so that's like the main, I guess, access that I had to painting was Bob Ross. But I did like drawing, poetry, and that was kind of what I did with my free time if I wasn't running around with my friends. Life was very different back then, and you know, I've missed creating. You know, got out of high school and life started, and didn't really have time for any of that. Working and getting married and all that stuff. And my kids are old. Okay, so this is the single page. That's the middle page. These 2 pages we glue together. This stuff's pretty amazing. I had some, I actually think it was this bottle. I had this out and got stuck in a box when I moved here. And it's been sitting out in the shed for about 2 years maybe, at least a year. And then I was looking for my craft supplies and I was going to throw it away. I'm like, oh, this is probably destroyed from the heat and cold and being outside in the shed. And I was like, well, I'll just see if it's still any kind of good. And I opened it up. There was a layer dried out on the top, and then it was good to go underneath. So I just had to peel off that skin layer, and it was good to go. So glad I'm a hoarder of craft supplies, even if I don't touch them for years. I have so many craft supplies I completely forgot about. So, one, tear out the page. These two will be glued together. And the funny thing about Mod Podge, I don't know why I always thought it was Mod Podge. I wonder if everybody used to call it Mod Podge because it just seems like it should be, you know? No. Okay, nice talking to you. Never mind. I was just saying Mod Podge. Sometimes I accidentally call it Mod Podge.